Alien Romulus, a chaotic carnival of xenomorphic madness. Fasten your seatbelts and prepare to launch into a world where space exploration is the least of your concerns. Fede Alvarez's film Alien Romulus is like combining cheap whiskey with rocket fuel in the movies. It's unsettling, explosive, and will make you reevaluate your decisions in life. In an attempt to balance novelty and nostalgia, the most recent installment in the Alien series falls flat and sets the stage on fire. And yet, if you don't mind the collateral damage to your sanity, it's hilarious to watch. Our narrative opens with Cailee Spaeny, a strong heroine who awakens in a space pod to a dystopian dawn that cries, "Welcome to the future, it's worse than you imagine." She blinks groggily. She is in the filthy outpost known as Jackson Star Mining Colony, which gives the Blade Runner set the appearance of a 5-star hotel. Here, the government is so repressive that you could be fined for grinning, and Rain, our wannabe Ripley, is just trying to make ends meet without turning either a food source for the local wildlife or a cog in the corporate system. Presenting Addie, Rain's technologically advanced sibling who resembles a future Ken doll with a software bug. Their bond is a heartwarming blend of uncomfortable technical malfunctions and brotherly loyalty, exactly the emotional baggage you want when you're trying to flee a space colony that aliens could take over in the event of a power loss. Thanks to a direction from their late father, Addie, bless his heart, is completely devoted to Rain. After all, nothing says family values quite like raising your son to be a paranoid bodyguard. The two's ambitious scheme is to leave Jackson Star as quickly as possible to avoid facehuggers or being crushed beneath the weight of bureaucratic red tape. Naturally, the government has other plans. After turning down Rain's request for interplanetary flight, they sentenced her to an additional 6 years of space servitude. When you think things can't get any worse, Rain and Addie encounter a bunch of sarcastic, spacefaring Gen Z colonists whose primary survival strategies appear to be their dislike of labor and their capacity for shade throwing. You know, standard Gen Z fare, but hold on, there's more. Rain's friends, including her boyfriend Tyler, decide to embark on a joyride into the shadowy, abandoned depths of space, rather than staying in the relatively safe confines of their cramped colony. Rain first refuses to give up because someone in this film needs to be sensible, but in the end, she gives in to social pressure. A crew of youthful, overconfident space colonists discovers that an abandoned space station is not as abandoned as they had assumed when they walk inside it. This is the classic horror setup that plays out next. Whoa, when the xenomorphs return, they will not be having selfies. From this point on, Alien Romulus dives headfirst into well-worn ground, rehashing cliches like a student in high school studying for a test. Because someone on the writing team paid attention in their mythology lesson, the space station is divided into 2 sections, Romulus and Remus. Both sections are teeming with the slimy, acid-blooded evil you'd expect. The xenomorphs are doing what they do best, ruining everyone's day, and facehuggers are showing up like unwanted party guests as the group's goal swiftly turns into a desperate struggle for survival. Although Alvarez does a great job capturing the cramped intensity of the first Alien, the screenplay appears to be working against him every step of the way. Most of the characters are cardboard cutouts, speaking dialogue that seems as though it was taken from a Stranger Things script that was rejected. Even the most formidable heroine would find it difficult to say lines like, "We've got to get out of here," while avoiding alien saliva, despite Rain's best efforts to mirror Sigourney Weaver's renowned Ripley. Subsequently, Addie appears to be the most intriguing character in the entire mess, albeit that doesn't say much. He is a walking metaphor for the movie itself, as an android with a predisposition for breaking down in the worst possible situations and a strong beginning that eventually falters in the last act. At one point, Addie becomes a corporate man who is more concerned with protecting alien specimens than his sister is after being brainwashed by a resurrected and unsettlingly lifelike version of Ian Holmes Ash from the original Alien. Addie was a sweet, if a little insane, brother. About crises, let us discuss the third act. Whoa, I have no idea where to start. Consider the scenario wherein the child of Alien Resurrection and the Thing was brought up on a steady diet of shoddy CGI and dubious story decisions. That sums up the last third of Alien Romulus. After an encounter with a xenomorph, one of Rain's friends, who we'll refer to as Plot Device 3, discloses that she is expecting a child. She chooses to inject herself with xenomorph juice rather than return to the ship for some much needed medical assistance. The best course of action when faced with a potentially fatal alien pregnancy is to experiment with unproven alien fluids. What was the outcome? A hideous hybrid that is half human and half xenomorph that matures quickly from a baby to a fully grown adult and then ruins everyone's well-laid plans. If you can call it that, the conclusion is a disorganized jumble of alien carnage, space wars, and enough story holes to fit a starship through. Rain, the ever-shrewd heroine, finds a way to entice the hybrid alien into an airlock where it is abruptly sent into space. If only this sequence of events hadn't been better executed in practically every previous Alien film, the scenario would have been exciting. Rather than offering us a fresh cause to care, the last scenes are replete with speech and images lifted straight out of the original Alien films, as if the directors were desperately attempting to remind us why we fell in love with the movie in the first place. However, we shouldn't be too hard on Alien Romulus. The movie does have its moments. Excellent production design perfectly captures the gritty, worn-out atmosphere of the original Alien environment. Alvarez's commitment to his craft is evident in the truly excellent practical effects, especially with the xenomorphs. Even more impressive is a sequence with floating acid blood and zero gravity that is both visually gorgeous and terrifying, demonstrating that Alien Romulus is capable of being frightening when it wants to be. Ultimately, Alien Romulus, like Frankenstein's monster film, pieced together with the greatest elements from its forerunners, but ultimately devoid of the spirit that elevated the first Alien to the status of a masterpiece. This is a movie that is more focused on fan service than originality and on making references to the past rather than on creating a future. Still, there's no denying that the entire jumble is enjoyable despite all of its shortcomings. It's the same thing as seeing a car crash in movies. You know it's bad, yet you can't help but stare. Therefore, Alien Romulus might be worth the price of admission if you're in the mood for some mindless fun, or if you're a devoted fan of Alien who's ready to overlook the film's numerous flaws. Just don't anticipate a work of art when you go in. This movie is a chaotic, horrifying, and sometimes humorous journey through the deepest recesses of space, and it understands exactly what it is, and occasionally that's all you require. Goodbye, folks. Hope you would have liked the video and this weird, horrific, scary journey with me. Subscribe the channel for more such reviews.